Greetings, citizens. I am your host, Jay Voodoo Child. It is the end of Invictus for the year 2024, and I'm here to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all why I think all those things existed. And so, first of all, I'd just like to apologize that my coverage this year has been kind of distracted. I got some stuff going on in my life, and on two separate occasions, I was kind of looking from the top down to see what the daily specials were or what the specials would be. And I didn't continue to look when I saw something new and missed certain time sensitive offers. And one of them turned out to be kind of very personal for me. And, while on one part I want to kind of kick myself for missing out on an opportunity, at the end of the day, that I missed an opportunity to spend money, which I've already spent a whole lot of money on this game. Probably don't need to spend any more, but if I miss it, I miss it. It's not a big deal, and I firmly say, don't worry about what's gone on in the past. Just kind of erase all that and don't worry about what someone else was able to do or not do with offers that came before, you started the CCU minigame. Or if you, like me, missed an opportunity that you were around for, but, just wasn't paying attention enough to see it. And I firmly believe, even if you started today, the day, right after Invictus, and where we saw a lot of specials, even starting today, you can double your pledge money. And depending on what you're going for and depending on how patient you are in applying your CCUs, the longer you can, see what the next special is, the more opportunities you are going to be to fill in those holes and to kind of see savings within certain links and chains. So, let me start off with talking about the LTI token. And if you pay attention to my channel, you kind of know how I feel about LTI tokens as compared to starter packs. But this year was the second time we saw a LTI token for $25. That was the Pulse this time, and also with the Pulse EX. Both can be purchased at $25, and they're worth $30 in the upgrade, the cross chassis upgrade section. And that is the lower the value you can pay out in cash, the better off you are, because you can fill in anything above that with credits if you happen to have that on hand. But if you're brand new, you're still filling that in with credits. But you also have more opportunities to kind of ride price increases from, certain vehicles going flight ready, or just general price increases that we are starting to see more of as we kind of continue in, now 11 years of development. Certainly inflation in the world has influencing prices over that period of time. It's no wonder why CIG is increasing pricing on some of its offerings. So, completely understandable. But the lower you can have an LTI token, the better off you are, because you can see some kind of small changes in between that and, another one that might be offered later on. But still, my advice personally is you're likely better off getting a package which will limit your insurance on that chain to 10 years instead of a lifetime. To me, everyone's going to have a different viewpoint on, is 10 years, am I going to be playing this game 10 years after it launches? And again, we are years away from it actually launching, so add 10 years to that. how many games are you playing 10 years after it launched? Sometimes I'll go back and dabble for a couple months, but if I'm paying insurance or whatever the equivalent is, I'm okay with that, because basically, even going back to some games, I have enough kind of capital on my account that, paying something as simple as a hull insurance, even on a very expensive ship, CIG has said repeatedly, hull insurance is not going to be, a big game changer. It's just something there. You can probably go on one mission and cover an entire month's package. So the time savings is, I think, relatively small. And again, that should be pocket change for me after 10 years of actively playing this game. And so I don't consider that a huge loss. And the gain you get from having an extra captain or an extra crew member on another ship, I think that's far more valuable as far as saving time in the game at launch than paying for whole insurance 10 years down the road. So again, that's kind of my rant on LTI tokens. There was a second one, technically, the MPView tracker. Actually, I'm probably misspelling that. Oh well, that was also released and went straight to flight ready. And so for $35 cash, you can get a $40 jump off point with the vehicle. So again, could you see a price increase? I think there might be a Ranger in there that could go from 35 now to 40 when it goes flight ready down the road. I don't know. But there were also 2 starter kit sales this year. One is the kind of standard Aurora MR plus a digital download. Also, I don't remember looking at the deal what if it came with a specialized hanger. I know it had the paint, but it's 10% off, and so instead of a $45 package, it was $40.50, and that's $4.50 savings. And a normal war bond savings for this price range is $5, so it's not as good as a typical the savings you see from an LTI token. But it is the cheapest way for a brand new player to get into the game, as opposed to like the $45 that I was spending when I got into it. And then we have a spectacular deal with the Titan. And this kind of deal was normally seen in previous sales events, IAEs and Invictuses from previous years, based on the Nomad, which starts at price at 80. But the Titan now starts at 60. And so by spending $56.25, you could get the package and the Titan. And like I said, war bond savings at this price range is $5. So 60 minus 5 is 55. So what you're paying is $1.25 for the following. You get a extra digital download. That's, the captain or crew member. You get 20K starting cash instead of the typical 5K. You get a hanger upgrade, which is probably just going to be cosmetic, but it is something. The Aero View hanger instead of the self-land typical hanger. And you get a skin for the Titan, which may be irrelevant for you if you turn the Titan into something else by playing the CCE minigame. But still, it's a skin, and the Titan is still considered one of the best starting ships in the game. So, whether you want to have that ship and that paint as a starting point for, another character or what have you, or even this character, a fantastic deal, in my opinion. So, that's what's going on right there. Also, we had the Firebird seen here, introduced to the game and went straight through Flyable. You could get it for 170 War Bond or 185, but they're also offering a CCU. So if you jumped off from something from, I'm not sure whether there's anything at 165 or not, but yeah, certainly there's stuff at 160. You can spend 5 or 10 credits or cash. Actually, it was 5. So yeah, there's something at 165 that you can jump up from. So by spending 5 cash, you can save $15 on that CCU. But it's also offered directly. You can just pay the difference up to 170 and save that $15 there if you just want to go straight there. The other ones are the Ironclad and Ironclad Assault. Let me get this spelling correctly. And so for $400, you could save $50 or just spend $450 credit to get an Ironclad right now. I forget whether it's flight ready or not, and whether there will be another price jump after it. I'm thinking that it's not. So kind of expect another price jump. And then there is the Ironclad Assault, which is, this is a kind of high-end cargo carrier that is equivalent to a C2 or a whole C. Those are its combinations, and this one kind of does cargo hauling a little bit differently than those other two. And so Star Citizen is very much a game about choices. And so, you know, for some people, the C2 is going to be their ideal cargo carrier based on how they play the game. For others, this Ironclad is going to be better with its unique features and whatnot. Primarily being its cargo hold, its top will open up, and so it's easier to load and offload items from the cargo hold. And so that's, you know, advantage. But it is ultimately internal storage as opposed to the whole C, which is all exterior storage. So just kind of different choices. The Ironclad Assault is more of a ground vehicle carrier and support. It has like a garage for repairing and rearming. And so it's mainly focused on deploying vehicles to hot zones. And is kind of like a direct competitor to the M2, which, yeah, again, this has different flavors of the same kind of gameplay. And depending on what one works for you, you may go with the Ironclad Assault, or you may want to go to the M2 or something else. So those were the 5 kind of new offers. And, you know, that's significant for an Invictus period. So it's nice to see new choices coming to the game and, you know, new opportunities to ride price hikes. And, you know, ultimately when this goes, whether it goes up 10%, 15%, what have you, that is additional savings on top of this 50. If you went directly there. So that is something, if you just kind of want to skip all the kind of rinky-dink kind of individual stuff, you can go straight to that. And just, you know, if you know this is going to be your jam, then there. And also, because you're paying for cash up front, it's automatically gifted. So if the, you know, like the Assault, many people were thinking that it was the Ironclad plus extra stuff, you know, for vehicles. And it turns out to me, no, it's a completely different kind of vehicle. This one only kind of focuses on cargo. This one doesn't focus on cargo, doesn't have those cargo specialties features. No, it's just dealing with vehicles. So if you got the Ironclad Assault, you could, gift it away, or, sell it on the gray market, and, keep some of this $70. You probably have to trade some of it away, to someone else. And, or you can wait until it goes flight ready and it jumps 10%, 15%, and then maybe get all of that 70 while giving the other person savings or incentives to purchase your thing, with the price jump over here. So just different options if you want to play a different type of CCU minigame. I mean, even though this really isn't a CCU situation, but it's an option for you as a backer to say, okay, I don't want to deal with all the individual links and worrying about how they link up, and, price changes while I wait and all that good stuff. I just want the thing. If that's your point of view, do it. We're all different, and we're all have different goals. We all have different budgets of money and time that we're going to be spending in the game. And this channel is all about kind of showing what the different options mean to various people. And if you fit one of those, types of people, then you may be interested in going this way or that way, and just selecting different options. So that's kind of like what I want to do. So let's get into the CCU dailies. Day one, and it actually returned into the finale, which I was surprised to see, is the Polaris. And so $25 from the Percy, which is kind of like its lesser brother. Redheaded stepchild. I don't know what. But if you got the Perseus because you liked the advertisements, or you thought this would be your thing, and oh wait, the Polaris does mean upgrades and better things for you, then spend $25. You get $50 in savings, to cover this $75 jump otherwise, by just paying $25. So a good 2-to-1 ratio there. That's nice. And it once you get into these higher ranges of prices, they are still 2-to-1s, but those individuals are 25 cash, 50 savings. That's kind of typical over here. Now the Carrack, this was a very interesting and surprising. I'm grateful for the Carrack. The Carrack always seems to have a War Bond daily sometime in an IAE or Invictus. And previously it's been like spend 20 to save 40 or something like that. But the day after its IAE, like 6 months ago, daily special on the Carrack, the whole D jumped in price a whole bunch of money, and we'll see that later on. But when the Carrack special comes around for this Invictus, it's only 10 away from the whole D. And so you could save $40 on that instead of paying 20 or whatever you were paying before. You're just now paying 10. So this is a much better deal, also much better ratio. And so it was kind of refreshing to say, okay, yeah, the Carrack got another War Bond special. It's kind of taking up a slot of, the 13 days or what have you. But this one was different because of a previous high price jump with the whole D. And so going forward, this is a much better one than if you got it, 6 months ago. And so that's kind of interesting to see. The Valkyrie, day 7 and in the finale, You know, 10 for 25. But something that this Invictus did a very good job with is providing links. And sometimes they were kind of sneaky about it and giving you links after the fact. Well, I mean, they were all after the fact, but sometimes you had choices that would be specials later on. And if you didn't go with that choice, then you missed that chance to link different chains. And so that was kind of sneaky, because with Invictus, you're rolling out different manufacturers by day. And here we kind of see all the different manufacturers that came out at various times. And, you know, those dates. So for a 2-year period, you know, all the RSI and some of the, you know, the Origins consolidated uplines and Argo would be released. And then on the 19th and 20th, Crusader and Tumbril would be added to the 2 list. So I guess that doesn't really matter because the 2 lists, I mean, they're always available on the from list. So I guess, yeah, that doesn't matter. But some of the chain links were sneaky and possibly underhanded, I might say. But overall, I think there was a lot of links that I prefer having like a large section like this instead of this. And I kind of want to see large sections like this because this might be filled in at some other point. Or I could just do, you know, the Terrapin to end on Terry's to get this and up to this. And then I can carry that all the way up to the Caterpillar. But, or also I can just wait around for the Vulcan to go flight right and see whether it goes up 10% or 15%. And, you know, so having more gaps, big gaps like this, I'm okay with. If I can see 2 or 3 chains lining up like this, I actually prefer that for event combinations because overall, you know, by spending. So here's one I want to talk about. All right, day 2, and you know we just had the Polaris on day 1. Day 2, it's still just these people: Argo, Consolidated, Outline, Origins, and RSI. The Aquila is offered as a Warbound special. The list that was available, you were spending $15 cash to get a $20 value. I guess, you know what? I may have gotten something wrong here. Because the Harbinger would have been available. So yeah, this is probably just my distracted life that I screwed up on day 2, saying what could be jumped off from. And if that's the case, I apologize. So instead of spending 15 to get 20, but for whatever reasons, I only saw 3 options down here instead of this Harbinger. And so, you know, $5 to get 20. So 5, 10. So $20 you saved $65. I mean, that's very good. And again, you're set in this range. And it's a fairly long range. So I really appreciate that. The Caterpillar came out. Okay, Day 2 was the Aquila. Day 3, the Gemini. A lot of people are using the Gemini to jump up to the former price of the Whole Sea, the Crucible, or the Endeavor. The Endeavor and Crucibles are still at 350. Those are excellent ships. They will go up in price. I recommend getting them. They are very good ships if you are, shopping in this price range. I can see a lot of game value in acquiring those ships. And so the typical jumping off point is the Gemini. But if you're going for something beyond that, you could get this 10 for 25 and add in a Valkyrie coming off the Gemini. And, there will be other CCUs that get into ships into this price range, coming from the Valkyrie. So, this is nice. The Caterpillar is nice. For older backers, the Caterpillar was announced, hey, we're increasing the price on the Caterpillar. And so at that time, it was $295. So I personally got 2 Harbinger Caterpillars, and it jumped up to $330. But here we have, a kind of return CCU to what that was. You're spending $10 cash to save 30 instead of the 5 credits to save 35 that I did, just because I'm, was around during that time and actually saw that it was going on to, get on board with it. But also the Harbinger, which I have not seen a CCU from since I did that deal. So I was very excited to finally see this one. And I was happy to spend 10 to get $20 in that. So I've locked up this section here in my chains because I have a lot of stuff going to the Mercury. So I was very happy about that. I would have been even more happy if I had actually made some Vulcan purchases, because the thing that's special about this is that you get a war bond, so you get savings below it. You lock in the price of the Vulcan, and the Vulcan's going to go up in price on top of that. Maybe 10%, probably 10%, I'm guessing, based on recent flight readies. But, maybe 15% because it's special or what have you. So you get savings down here and you get savings up here. You play 2 types of the CCU minigame, and I would have been thrilled to get in on that, but I still just have, I think I have 3 Vulcans from, something at 195. I spent 5 credits to get this, and I'll ride, get 20 or 30 extra dollars if I can fit this into my chains. And again, I'm leaving my chains unapplied, so future deals can be swapped in and out if the savings is more real. Also, I'm personally thinking about, I rather see more price changes based on credits than with a straight war bond offer, because since this was paid with cash, I can sell it or give it away. And, if this channel gets big enough, I will probably be gifting away for monthly prizes, my spare unused CCU chain, or, a link, and try and put as many of these flight readies as possible. But I could possibly give this away because the original thing that I'm buying the Vulcan for, I've already paid in cash. It's just someone needs to get up to the Super Hornet somehow. But the Vulcan, if I could give this away because I paid cash to get into the Vulcan, and I can give a Vulcan away so someone can see, this $15 here plus, say, the $20 there as a prize. And so, I think that will be interesting, and hopefully everyone will join my channel and start watching, and I'll get lots of Patreon people so I can buy a new computer and actually play this game at decent specs and whatnot. But that's all fantasy. Let's get back to reality. Um, so Terrapin, we saw this last Invictus, but this is kind of interesting. The Ares Inferno and Terry's, that's relatively new ship, so that may not have been available when we got involved with Ares when it went flight ready. The Retaliator. Let's see. Let's hold off on talking about the Retaliator. One of the disappointing things was I was talking about how things were linking up well. Day 4, we get the C1 Spirit as the daily offer. Spend $5 cash to get $10 in savings. That's great. The disappointing thing about the C1 Spirit is like a month ago, they also had this war bond going on. And at that time, I was trying to repair all the damage from the Ghost because I wasn't paying attention to know that price was jumping. And so I was trying to repair a bunch of chains, and you can see that thought process in these broken chain videos that I did back then. But so we had this kind of comeback as one of the daily specials, and I thought that was kind of bad. But the options wasn't really. I guess it did include the Gladius Valiant, but I would almost always never recommend these type of things because they're kind of just not dependable, I guess, not stable or what have you, or just so limited to kind of get into sometimes. Like the Heartseeker is only available on Valentine's Day. So it's just different things like that. I tend to shy away from the Valiant, but for whatever reason, and I think this is like the first time I've seen one of these kind of special paint job and loadout variants get put in as a CCU offer. And so the day before, which is a daily special, it went away. And then the very next day is the thing that you could have gone into, but you probably chose the black because you had a black, or because you heard that black was jumping up from 100. So you got a black to Mako, and then that jumped up in $10. And so you used the Spirit from the black, which I actually did a month ago. So this is kind of out of the blue, and WoW would have linked up nicely, just because of the order in which they did it. You don't take advantage. So if this was offered first, then you say, okay, I've already got a Gladius Valiant. All right, so I see the CCU. Let me use that instead of the black, because then I can, go from the Mako here, and the black shows up on day 10 and returns in the finale, but these two do not. So that was, I don't know, I don't care for that decision making process. The whole daily specials, some of them will return, some of them won't. I think that's just kind of an ugly practice of FOMO. I wish they didn't feel that they needed to do that to drive sales. I mean, I kind of understand it, but I just still think it's ugly. And, they've made $700 million in pledge money over these, 12 years. And granted, they've already spent a huge portion of that. So new money is going to be important. And, advertising for the launch of Squadron 42, which is hopefully coming up, that's going to be expensive. So, I get they still want to raise money. I just wish they wouldn't do this. And The CCU minigame is something that we created. It's something that we're taking advantage of to spend less. So, maybe I shouldn't get so upset that they are kind of making it hard to game the system as much as we tend to do. So that was just kind of one of the things that did not work out in the sequence. And I think those are all, let's kind of touch on most of them. So yeah. Retaliator. So it went flight ready during this Invictus. And this is the base model. And there was a bomber model. The Retaliator is a modular vehicle. So you have an empty base with 2 sections that you can put in mods. And then I forget what the price was. It was kind of up here, I believe. With the Retaliator bomber, torpedo bomber, it had 2 modules filled with, a forward and back torpedo bay configuration already built into it. And it was the one that was kind of like in the game right now. But the Retaliator base was not. So I was anticipating, because it's a modular thing, that it was going to jump up significantly price. It wouldn't jump up the 15%, which used to be the old standard. And I got excited when the Vulture actually jumped up to 25%. But no, they're going back to 10%, which is rather disappointing. Several vehicles, the Santoki I, SRV, the Corsair, I want to say, are all coming in at 10% jumps at flight ready instead of 15. And so previously I was thinking the Retaliator is not only going to go up 15, it's going to go up like 25, even more. It's going to be something that kind of puts it in line to say, okay, I can purchase those modules and still get up to whatever the price of the bomber was. However, and I guess we can reveal that right now. Oh, no, I guess that's the wrong section. The Retaliator only jumped up 15%, which still is more than the typical these days, but it jumped up 15%. And it went from 150. And so I'm sitting on, I think, 5 or whatever razors, because I thought this might be a huge price change. But typically when something goes flight ready, CIG will offer, like, get you back down to the original price with a war bond. So instead of spending 5 credits beforehand, you're spending 5 cash to get the same deal. This time, it comes in less. You're only saving 15 instead of the 25. And you're still paying 5 cash. So that was a rather disappointing thing, that they've kind of stopped doing that. Here's the last chance you can get it at this price. And also, that was one of the big things about the promotion on the Polaris. They were saying, this is the last time you're going to see the Polaris at $750. So get it now. And yes, that is savings. That is, something you want to do with the CCU minigame. But it is FOMO and it is ugly. And again, I get it why they do it, but I wish they wouldn't have to, or feel that they didn't have to. But so if this is kind of a new policy that, the CCUs get them early before the flight ready, because the war bond offer at the time is not going to be as good, that's disappointing and kind of hurts your brand new backers, which you want to have spending money. So that is what it is. But here are some of the other ships that are yet to go flight ready. Again, the Vulcan. Uh, it's nice. I have Heartseeker the Vulcans, and so I'll ride the $20 or $30 price jump when it actually happens. The Trio, the Med, those are, all things. Gemini to the Endeavor and Crucible, I'm not even saying these are going to go up 10%. I think 15% at least, if not more, because the value on both of these, the Endeavor and the Crucible, are just incredible for what that ship can do. And so I think by the time they finally build it and get it into the game, it's not going to be 400. It's going to be 450 or something like that. I don't know. So the Valkyrie was really nice because it's still 5 credits away from the Galaxy. So when the Galaxy is available, use this war bond to lock in the price for the Galaxy. And when the Galaxy comes out, it's going to jump 10% probably, maybe 15%. And so you'll get an additional $40 out of this war bond CCU here. Or I think at 400, have several options. Like the Reclaimer, I forget what all they were, but there were like 3 additional ships up here. And this is not a bad jump. And also you may see a war bond offer on one of these. So, actually probably it won't fit for the Valkyrie at this price, but to see something that uses one of this to jump up even further, like, I don't know what it would apply, something is from like a 600i or something. I don't know. Might utilize something at 400, in which you're just 25 away from that to really kind of get another jump up in here. So I really like this particular chain here, that it was offered complete. And again, you're just, 5 away from the Galaxy, and that can get you into the stuff. And, you can ride the Galaxy up into this, higher range, after the Galaxy goes up in price. So again, more patience you have, the greater you can see opportunity to say, fit things in, something new comes along for that time period that can fit in and save you even more money. The whole D, it's already jumped, I think, $100, and still is going to, actually, this is talking about the Liberator. But the whole D also is going to jump at some point when it gets released, or it may be at its final price. I don't know. The Orion, it also got a price jump last IAE. It could continue to go up, possibly 10, or it may have already seen its kind of flight ready price jump. I hope that, the whole D and Orion also jump in prices. I'm not personally interested in those vehicles, but, they are certainly popular. So, I hope people can see those price jumps and that actually comes to fruition. But let's open up this section. So, as I mentioned earlier, CIG is price adjusting stuff that's already flight ready and in the game. To me, it's natural dealing with inflation, but some of the kind of safety nets, if you will, of playing the CCU minigame is, what ship do you choose from? Because what happened to me is I got a bunch of Ghost to Vulture Warbond CCUs, and then the Vulture jumped in price 25% instead of the standard 15. And so I got a nice war bond offer here, and then a nice price jump here. Well, the Ghost went up in price, and I was, kept looking for a Ghost war bond offer to kind of lock in the price there and, link it to something below it, but never saw something in the 2.5 years that I've been since I got this CCU. So the price goes up. Basically, I'm just losing value in that Vulture CCU chain that I had. And so, again, I was not paying close attention this year to Star Citizen, so I missed this announcement and I wasn't able to protect myself that well. I'm not using the tracker or the MK1, but all jumped up in prices at the same day, and more our chains are being affected. And something that was really ugly, I believe, last Invictus is some of the price changes that came out afterwards. There was, I think, a Nova at 120 or 125, I forget which, that was offered. So it was like, spend $10 from the black to the Nova during Invictus. But after Invictus, it's announced, oh, we're increasing the price of the black by 10. So basically, you've spent $10 to get $10 in value. And that's not what you want to do in the CCU minigame. Because you just could spend that $10 in cash or credit to upgrade from the new price of the black to the Nova without having to deal with that special. So that was ugly. There's been other situations like that. Even the Titan, as great as this deal is today, for older backers, they have Titans at $55. And so maybe you kind of view this as you're not spending, $125. You're really losing already $5 that you've gotten in a price jump, somewhere else in another chain, since this is a brand new vehicle. But just those types of considerations. The Redeemer went up in price, the Aquila, and again right now. So the Gemini, when it's been offered before, was a $10 for the 20. But with this price jump, it's now $5. And so that's an advantage, kind of like the Carrack is with the whole D price jump. But if you had the Aquila before, then this isn't great for older backers, but this is great for new backers. So just kind of trade-offs on, where you are on that spectrum, I guess. Here's the whole D jump up and the Orion. And so the Orion maybe go up in price some more. We don't know. And the whole D to Liberator, again, this 25 credits way here, and it can jump in price. Or the Galaxy from the Valkyrie, just different things like that. So overall, I think this was a pretty fantastic Invictus for new backers and old backers. Overall, there's lots of value that could have been gained by people with the daily specials, and so that's nice. And certainly all the extra money that they're raising with limited sales and whatnot. I think this has been the record-breaking Invictus, sales month, week, what have you. And so, again, they've raised now $700 million, and that blows my mind. But then again, I'm over $1,000 of that in my pocket. So, but, again, that's just what I'm able to afford. And I hope people don't look at their budgets and say, oh, it's a shame that I can't spend this kind of ridiculous money on a game. Don't worry about it. I'm the fool by spending this much. That money could be far useful in my life elsewhere than waiting on this game that isn't even out yet. I haven't applied any of my CCUs, so all this is just digital commodities, which are at the end of the day are worthless. So, you know, maybe I'll get some gameplay out of it down the road. In the meantime, I get to spend lots of time fantasizing, and you know that's worth something. I kind of considered these lotto tickets like these CCUs as lotto tickets. You know, whenever the lotto gets to $500 million, yeah, I'll throw $10 in there, and you know, for that day or whatever, I fantasize, okay, what I'm going to do if I win $500 million, you know, is that worth $10? You know, who knows? Everyone has a different opinion on that. You know, I'm not going to spend the money it takes to get a season ticket on a sports event. I mean, sports just don't do that much for me, and games don't do that much for other people. We're all different, and so just do you and be responsible, and that's the key for anything in life. Be responsible. But you know, again, a fantastic tales. I hope this was kind of informative for you and kind of sharing some insights on different aspects of the CCU minigame. And I'm planning on doing a couple more commentaries. I might even start up some hot takes because I've gotten some ideas on that. And then I'm going to roll into Alien Week and kind of do a similar coverage there, hopefully better with kind of looking towards the bottom of the list just to make sure there's not other offers. And you know, finish up that coverage. I don't know what my channel is going to do after that, and I may go back to Total War. I may go. I've been playing Manor Lords, right? Yeah, Manor. Really heavily, and so I might actually do some coverage there. But anyway, stay tuned, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And please share your comments on what you thought of this Invictus and everything. I look forward to reading them. I always want constructive conversations on various topics. And hopefully they can help the next viewer. And so please share your opinions, your takes. And it's not just my channel, me, you know, talking on my soapbox. I hope for more on that regard. But thank you all for hanging in this long. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.